The chamber is always heavy with smoke. Bitter incense clings to the stone vaults above, trapped in currents of stagnant air. It coats the tongue in resin and ash, seeping into the folds of my robe until the fabric itself reeks of sanctity. The heat presses down, radiating from braziers filled with glowing coals, their sputtering embers spitting sparks into the gloom. I can hear them, tiny, insectal pops beneath the drone of hymns. Every sound in this place is swallowed by the chorus of voices, dozens raised in trembling devotion, voices cracking under strain, trembling with fear disguised as faith. I should bow lower. I should close my eyes and murmur the litanies without thought. That is what the priests demand, what the guards expect. I should empty myself of doubt, like the others, and let the words of worship fill the hollow where my mind once lived. But I do not. My knees ache from kneeling, my shoulders burn from hours hunched in submission, yet my thoughts rebel. The Emperor, golden and dead upon his throne, does not hear us. He cannot. Still we kneel, drowning in smoke, inhaling the perfume of our own servitude. The stone beneath my hands is cold, slick with oil where countless palms have pressed against it. I can smell sweat in the air, rank, human, animal. The mingling of incense and unwashed flesh makes my stomach churn, yet none flinch, none gag. They endure, as they have always endured, because to falter is to draw notice. And notice here is death, or worse. I hear the shuffle of armored boots in the aisles, the metallic rasp of rebreathers as the enforcers pace between us. Their presence is not a comfort. They are here to watch, not to pray. We pray under threat of their bolters, under the shadow of their cruelty. Faith enforced at gunpoint is not faith at all, yet still they call it holy. I whisper the words. My lips shape them soundlessly, mouthing syllables worn smooth by centuries of repetition. They feel like ash in my mouth, meaningless as the dust settling in my lungs. Around me, others sob with devotion, their tears streaking grime across their faces. They rock with zeal, eyes closed, lips trembling with fervor. I envy their certainty even as I despise it. To believe so fully, to surrender so completely. What freedom that must be, even if it is slavery. I once tried. Long ago, when I was younger, my heart swelled with the thought of his light reaching even me, of the master of mankind seeing my obedience. I told myself that my suffering was purpose, that my pain was devotion. But years have dulled that fire, and now I see only ritual for ritual's sake. A corpse upon a throne, fed by our lives, demanding our deaths, and yet never answering. My prayers fell into silence, swallowed by the endless void. There was no warmth, no whisper, no recognition. Only silence, endless and cold. What God is that? Still, I bow when the priest raises his hand. I listen as he screams of damnation, his voice ragged, his eyes wild with ecstasy or madness. He speaks of the great enemy, of chaos lurking beyond the veil, whispering lies into the ears of the faithless. He says that doubt is the first step to damnation, that hesitation is treason, that thought itself can betray us. I lower my eyes as his words dig into me, for I know their truth. My doubt is alive, gnawing, restless. And if thought is betrayal, then I am already a traitor. My chest tightens. My pulse hammers in my ears louder than the hymns. I imagine the gaze of the enforcers falling on me, their visors glinting in the haze, their fingers tightening on triggers. I imagine their bolt shells shattering my body, my blood hissing on the stones. The fear makes my breath catch, but beneath the fear, something else stirs. A question, a hunger. If the Emperor does not answer, if he is no god, then what waits in the darkness beyond his silence? What voices whisper there, and what truths do they hold? The hymn reaches its crescendo. The faithful howl is one, voices breaking, throats raw, yet they do not falter. I keep my lips still. For the first time, I do not even pretend. My silence is my rebellion, small and unseen, hidden beneath the roar. Yet it burns within me, brighter than the incense flame, sharper than the sting of smoke in my eyes. In this silence, I feel more alive than I have in years. When the hymn ends, there is a hush, a vast emptiness where voices once were. The silence presses heavier than the noise, suffocating, absolute. I wait for the priest to speak again, to drag us back into the familiar rhythm of ritual. But for a moment, just a moment, there is nothing but my heartbeat and the sound of my own breath. In that pause, I imagine a voice, low, distant, not the emperor, not the priest. A whisper rising from beneath the incense smoke, curling like serpents in my lungs. I cannot make out its words, but I feel them. They are not silence. They are not absence. They are possibility. The moment passes. The priest chants anew. The crowd rises. The ritual resumes its endless cadence. Yet I do not forget. I cannot. Something has shifted. In the heavy air, in the darkness behind my eyes, a presence waits. It watches. It breathes with me. It does not demand my kneeling, does not choke me with smoke, does not strike me with fear. It tempts with something else, something dangerous, something real. When I rise with the others, I feel the weight of the Emperor's gaze, or the lack of it. My lips do not move, yet within me, a new litany stirs. A secret one, unspoken. I do not yet know the words, but I feel their rhythm in my bones. The first syllables of a new devotion, not to the Emperor, to something else, to the whisper. The braziers sputter, and the smoke thickens, curling higher, as though drawn upward by some unseen hand. My chest aches with the need to cough, but I hold it back. I let the smoke fill me. I let it burn. I leave the chapel with the others, my robe heavy with the scent of incense and iron. Outside, the air is cooler, cleaner, but I do not welcome it. Already, I miss the smoke. Already, I long for the whisper. And I know I will return. The streets outside the chapel are no less suffocating. The air is damp with the stink of industry, the tang of machine oil and burnt ozone. Smoke curls from 1,000 chimneys, blotting the sky in greasy plumes, so that no light penetrates but the dim orange glow of manufacturing fires. Even the sun, if such a thing still exists above this endless haze, feels forgotten here. The heat clings to the walls and lingers in the lungs. It is a different kind of incense, less holy, more honest. The perfume of toil, of exhaustion, of lives spent in servitude until they collapse into the dust. The crowd disperses from the chapel in silence. No one speaks. Conversation is dangerous, and joy is a sin. We file into the avenues like ants, heads bowed, eyes lowered, each step measured and small. The rhythmic march of the faithful. It should comfort me, this unity, this sameness. Instead, it crushes me. I feel like a stone carried downstream, battered, drowned, never rising for air. I keep my gaze on the cobbles, tracing the cracks between stones, the rivulets of grime that seep down their edges. The world narrows to feet and pavement, the hiss of steam vents, the occasional barked order from an enforcer. Their presence stalks us even here, the thud of boots echoing in alleys, the distant clatter of weapons. Every sound is surveillance, every shadow an accusation. Yet my mind is elsewhere, not on the Emperor, not on the silence of his throne, but on that whisper, the one that threaded itself through the smoke, curling beneath the hymns. It was not imagined. I will not allow myself to dismiss it so easily. I know the difference between nothing and something. This was something. The silence of the streets deepens as I think on it. Around me, lips still move in prayer, some too afraid to cease their litanies even outside the chapel's walls. I do not join them. My silence grows heavier, deliberate, a rebellion in itself. Words are chains, silence is freedom. Yet within my silence, something new takes root. My thoughts echo louder, my doubts bloom unchecked. And in their flowering, I feel less alone. The manufactorum looms ahead, its iron doors yawning open, spilling heat and smog into the street. The crowd files inside with mechanical obedience, bodies swallowed by the machine. I linger at the threshold, hesitating. My chest tightens at the thought of another day among gears and fumes, of oil slicking my skin, of the overseer's lash. Yet I step forward, because not to step forward is death. My survival is obedience, for now. Inside, the air is thicker still, choked with dust and grit. The roar of engines rattles the bones, a constant grinding thunder that drowns thought. The machines are older than memory, their surfaces pitted with rust, their teeth gnashing as though in endless hunger. We feed them with our labor, day after day, our bodies broken to fuel their eternal hunger. The overseer watches from above, his eyes narrow, his voice crackling through a Vox speaker. His orders are clipped, harsh, metallic. They sting the ears like lashes, though worse lashes follow if his words are not obeyed. I take my place at the conveyor, hands working without thought. The metal is hot, searing my palms even through the threadbare gloves. Sparks shower in arcs, stinging my arms, leaving small blackened scars. I work because I must, but my mind wanders. The roar of machines becomes the roar of a sea, and in that sea, I hear it again. Not loud, not clear, but present, the whisper. It rides between the groaning of gears, slips between the pounding of pistons. A sound that is not a sound, but a presence. I feel it brushing against the inside of my skull, stroking thought like fingers through ash. You are awake, it seems to murmur. Not in words, not precisely, but in meaning. You are awake, and they are not. My hands falter. A shard of metal tears across my glove, biting into the flesh of my palm. Pain blossoms, sharp, immediate, but I barely feel it. I close my fist, holding blood within. The machines do not stop. The overseer does not notice. The others do not care. But the whisper feels it. It lingers, as though savoring my pain. Not cruelly, not yet. It feels more like acknowledgement, recognition. My blood is a signal, and it has been received. The hours drag. Sweat runs into my eyes, grit grinds into the wound, and my back bends until my spine screams. But I endure. Endurance is survival, and survival is defiance. Yet beneath endurance lies something else, curiosity. If silence is freedom, what is the whisper within silence? Is it temptation? Is it damnation? Or is it truth? The priest would call it heresy, would say it is chaos gnawing at my soul. Perhaps it is. But if heresy brings answers where faith brings silence, then perhaps heresy is the only truth left. By the time the shift ends, I can barely stand. My body aches. My hand bleeds sluggishly beneath a makeshift wrap. The others shuffle toward the dormitories, eyes hollow, lips cracked from heat. They murmur prayers, some quietly, some desperately, as if repetition itself will keep them alive. I do not join them. My lips are sealed, my silence heavier than their words. Yet within me, a chant builds, not of prayer, but of thought. The whisper is still there, nestled in the cracks of my mind, breathing with me. It does not demand. It waits. Night falls, though no stars pierce the smog. The dormitory is crowded, the air sour with sweat and mold. Bodies collapse into bunks, curling like the dead. I lie awake, staring at the ceiling's rusted beams. The hum of distant machinery never ceases. It fills the silence, but does not erase it. I close my eyes, and in the darkness, the whisper is clearer. Not loud, not sharp, but persistent, like a tide lapping against a shore. Patient. I feel it urging me, not to act, not yet, but to listen, to wait, to remember the silence of the chapel, the absence of the emperor, the absence of all things divine. And so I wait, and I listen. My breathing slows. My blood pulses faintly in my wounded hand. I can almost hear it, like a drumbeat, like a call. My heart, not the emperor's light, is the only rhythm left to guide me. I do not pray before sleep. Instead, I whisper nothing back, a silence that is almost speech. And I wonder if it hears me. The wound in my palm does not heal. The cut was shallow, but in this place, no wound remains clean. The air is thick with soot, the water tastes of iron, and the filth clings to every surface, seeping into every pore. Infection blooms quickly, like mold spreading through bread. By morning, my hand is swollen, the skin tight and raw, the veins darkening beneath the flesh. I bind it tighter with ragged cloth, though the pain worsens with each heartbeat. It throbs like a second heart, a secret one, pulsing with something that feels almost alive. I work regardless. The overseer does not care for weakness, and the machines demand flesh. My grip falters, sweat slicking the tools in my hand, but I force myself on. Pain is survival here. Yet it is not only survival anymore. It is communion. For the whisper stirs in the rhythm of my pulse, curling into the fever spreading through my veins. In every throb of agony, I feel it. Not words, not sound, but presence. A reminder that I am not alone in my silence. At night, the fever worsens. My body burns beneath the thin blanket, heat radiating from the wound like fire licking upward through my arm. I toss in the bunk, sweat soaking the mattress, mouth parched, tongue swollen. Around me, others sleep like corpses, unmoved by my shuddering. I am abandoned among the living. I close my eyes, and the darkness is deeper than it has ever been. Not emptiness, density, like sinking beneath black water, lungs straining, yet unable to surface. I am drowning in fever, but in that drowning, I hear it. The whisper, no longer faint, no longer uncertain. You suffer, it says. The words are not words, but they are meaning, shaping themselves inside me. You suffer, and he does not answer. My breath rasps in my throat. My lips move without thought. No, I murmur, though my voice is barely sound. He does not. The fever grips tighter, twisting my vision, bending the ceiling beams into crooked spires. Shadows crawl across the walls, shifting like living things, their edges jagged, their movements unnatural. The room is a cathedral of rot, and the shadows are its choir. My pulse is the organ, pounding and ragged. The whisper flows through it all, a current beneath the fever. You bleed, and still he is silent. You ache, and still he does not see. I clench my hand, though the pain makes me cry out. The swollen flesh bursts against the bandage, leaking pus and blood in a foul warmth. The stench rises, sharp and acrid, mingling with the dormitory's stink. I gag, but do not release it. The pain anchors me, grounds me in the fever. And in that anchor, the whisper is clearer than ever. Pain is truth, it tells me. Pain is proof. He would have you kneel in silence, but I hear you. I answer. Tears leak from the corners of my eyes, scalding against my temples. Is it real? Am I delirious, lost to fever's hallucination? Perhaps. Yet what is the difference, if it speaks? If it answers where the emperor never did? I bite my lip until it splits, blood running into my mouth. The taste of iron fills me, metallic and bitter, and the whisper hums in approval. You are awake, it repeats. And in your blood, the truth is made flesh. Sleep comes in fragments. Dreams coil and twist, indistinguishable from waking fever. I walk through endless corridors of stone, their walls slick with oil, the air stinking of rust. Shadows drip from the ceilings like tar, stretching into clawed shapes that beckon. Somewhere ahead, a figure waits, tall, robed, faceless. Its hands glow with a faint light, not gold, not holy, but red. The color of raw flesh, the color of wounds. It lifts one hand, and I feel the pull in my palm, the wound answering its call. The pain surges, dragging me toward it, though my legs will not move. I fall forward, endlessly, into its grasp. I wake gasping, body convulsing, the wound split open anew. Blood stains the sheets, black in the dim glow of lumen strips. My bunkmates stir, mutter curses, but do not rise. No one helps. No one cares. I clutch my hand to my chest, trembling, whispering back to the voice in my skull. I hear you, I rasp. I hear you. The words are a confession, a pact. My silence is broken, but not in prayer. In acknowledgement. The fever lingers for days. I drag myself to the manufactorum, weak and pale, but something drives me forward. The machine's roar is no longer only noise. It is a hymn of metal, each grind and crash an echo of the whisper's rhythm. The overseer's voice, once harsh and meaningless, now seems distant, hollow, easily ignored. Pain sharpens my focus, and in its clarity, I begin to see differently. The faces of the faithful are no longer merely hollow. They are empty vessels, shells filled with nothing but repetition. Their lips move without meaning, their prayers are wind. They do not hear what I hear. They are deaf. I am not. When I rest, I trace the wound with my fingers. It has not healed. It resists closure, as though something festers inside, something that refuses to be sealed. And I find that I do not want it to heal. It is proof of something beyond silence. It is a mark, a sign, not of weakness, but of truth made flesh. When I squeeze it, when the pus and blood seep out, I feel the whisper stir, pleased. My pain is its altar, my wound its scripture. On the fourth night, as I lay awake in the dormitory, the whisper grows sharper. It does not murmur, it speaks. There is no salvation in silence. Only in flesh, only in blood. Would you give yours to be heard? I shiver, clutching the bandage tighter. My mouth is dry, but I manage to speak, barely more than a whisper. Yes. The word hangs in the darkness like a blade suspended. A vow, once made, cannot be unmade. I know this even as fever burns through me. And still, I do not regret it. My heart beats faster, echoing like a drum. And in that rhythm, I feel something new, a response. Not just presence, but warmth. A terrible, consuming warmth. The first true answer I have ever known. When sleep finally drags me under, I dream again of the figure in red light. This time, I do not fall. I walk willingly into its arms. The fever leaves me as suddenly as it came. One night I burn, sweating and shuddering, whispering oaths to the darkness, and the next morning I wake cold and clear, as though purged. My body aches with weakness, my limbs tremble with fatigue, yet my mind is sharper than ever. The haze of obedience that once dulled my days is gone. Every detail cuts with clarity. The cracks in the stone walls, the stench of mildew in the dormitory, the scurrying of vermin in the rafters. I see the world not as it was, but as it is, rotten, stinking, fragile. And yet beneath its decay, I sense something glowing, something waiting to be born. My hand is the proof. The wound refuses to heal, scab tearing open with every movement. Pus seeps slowly, mingling with blood, staining whatever rags I wrap it in. It should disgust me. It should frighten me. Instead, I feel pride when I look upon it. It throbs with every heartbeat, a secret rhythm no prayer could match. The flesh is discolored now, the veins branching outward like dark roots. It is not sickness. It is not weakness. It is a brand. My brand. I keep it hidden, my palm clenched in work, but in solitude I bear it and stare, marveling at the ember that smolders beneath my skin. The days pass, and with them the rituals continue. The chapel calls us, its braziers burning with incense, the priests screaming litanies until their throats tear. I attend because I must, but I no longer kneel as before. My knees touch stone, but my mind does not bend. I mouth the words without breath, but my silence is my truth. I let the smoke sting my eyes and choke my lungs, but I no longer take it in as devotion. I take it in as memory of the whisper that first found me there. The Emperor's silence is heavier now than ever, deafening in contrast. Where once it frightened me, now it feels like betrayal. A god who cannot answer is no god. A corpse on a throne is no savior. And I will not debase myself to a corpse. One night, after the hymns, I linger in the chapel's shadow. The crowd files out, murmuring prayers as they shuffle back to their dormitories. The enforcers stalk the aisles, their rebreathers hissing, their eyes unfeeling. I wait until their boots echo down the far corridor before I move. The braziers smolder, their coals glowing faintly red. I approach one, my wounded hand trembling with anticipation. I hold it above the heat. The pain is sharp, immediate, but not unbearable. The wound opens, hissing as blood falls in droplets onto the coals. They sizzle, spitting sparks into the incense smoke. The smell of burning blood fills the air, acrid and rich, cutting through the perfume of resin. For the first time, the chapel feels alive. For the first time, I feel heard. The whisper curls around me, pleased. It does not speak in words, but in sensation, a warmth rising in my chest, a pressure behind my eyes, a subtle tightening in my skull. Approval. Communion. This offering is mine, not forced by priest or overseer. My blood, freely given, freely burned. A defiance hidden within obedience. No one sees, no one knows. Yet the coals crackle louder than the hymns ever did, and the whisper swells within me. This is ritual. This is faith. I leave the chapel with my heart hammering, my lungs full of smoke. I expect fear to follow me, the fear of discovery, of punishment, of execution. But there is no fear, only exhilaration. My silence is no longer passive. It has become active, a blade honed within me. Each step I take into the smog-filled streets feels lighter, freer, though the world around me remains unchanged. The manufactorum still grinds, the enforcers still stalk, the sky still suffocates. Yet I no longer belong to it as I once did. The chains are still around my limbs, but within, something has slipped loose. The others notice my distance, though they do not speak of it. They see my lips unmoving during prayers, My eyes open when theirs are closed. Some frown, some glance nervously at the enforcers, but none dare confront me. Their silence protects me as much as mine damns me. They fear the overseer, the priest, the lash. But more than that, they fear the possibility of doubt. For doubt is contagious. To question aloud would be to risk infection, and they would rather remain hollow than risk becoming alive. In the manufactorum, I work as before, but the machines no longer consume me. I hear their roar as voices, their grinding teeth as hymns. The sparks that sting my skin feel like blessings. I bleed often, and I let the blood fall where it may, on metal, on stone, into the air thick with soot. Each drop is a prayer, each sting a reminder. The whisper hums through it all, patient, ever present. It does not command me. It does not threaten me. It waits, and in its waiting, it teaches me patience. The emperor demanded everything and gave nothing. The whisper demands nothing, and in return, it gives presence. That alone is more than I have ever known. At night, I withdraw further. I no longer join the muttered prayers before sleep. I lie awake, staring at the shadows on the ceiling, tracing their movements until they blur into shapes. Sometimes I see faces, hollow-eyed and grinning, shifting in the gloom. Sometimes I see flames licking upward, devouring the beams. I do not fear these visions. They comfort me. They remind me that there is more beyond the silence, more beyond the corpse god's tyranny. I whisper back into the dark, my words without sound, my breath carrying them nowhere. Yet still, I feel the response. Not silence. Never silence again. The first true act of defiance comes without planning. One evening, as the priest leads the final chant, I feel the weight of the words pressing down, demanding submission. My hand throbs beneath its rag, blood seeping through. My heart races, the whisper swelling, louder than ever. And when the priest's voice rises, demanding we scream our devotion, I do not. I rise, not kneeling, not bowing. I stand as the others kneel, my silence a scream greater than their voices. The enforcers' eyes find me, their visors gleaming, but they do not move. Perhaps they do not see. Perhaps they do not care. Or perhaps they, too, fear what silence can mean. The hymn ends. The faithful disperse. No lash falls, no bolt round shatters my chest. I walk out into the night, alive, unbroken, defiant. And within me, the whisper is no longer faint. It is a flame, a spark made flesh. My flesh. For the first time, I wonder if I could share it. If another would hear. If another would burn. The dormitory feels smaller now, the walls tighter, the air more sour. Every night, the bodies around me breathe in unison, a chorus of shallow gasps and soft snores. But I can no longer disappear into it. I am no longer one of them. My silence has weight now. It draws glances like iron draws a magnet. I catch them in the corner of my eye, brief flickers, faces turning away too quickly, eyes darting toward me when they think I cannot see. The faithful smell difference like blood and water. They sense it, even if they do not understand. I keep my wound hidden beneath its rags. By now it has taken on a strange beauty. Dark veins spidering outward, the flesh warm beneath my touch, pulsing as if with its own life. Sometimes it itches, a crawling sensation under the skin like something moving there. I do not scratch it. I let it grow, let it deepen. It is mine, a relic carved into me. At night, I trace it with a fingertip, following its branching roots like a map. It feels like an answer written into my flesh. The whisper has changed, too. No longer soft, no longer only patient. It has begun to push, not harshly, not like the priest's barked orders, but insistently. A tide pressing against a shore, washing a little farther with each wave. They are deaf, it murmurs. But some may hear, some may burn as you burn. The thought excites me and terrifies me in equal measure. To share this is to risk exposure, to risk death. But to keep it locked within me feels suddenly like cowardice. The flame has been lit. Flames do not hide, they spread. The manufactorum is louder than ever, the roar of engines a storm crashing inside my skull. Sparks leap in showers of orange light, stinging my bare forearms. I no longer flinch. The overseer's voice blares through the vox like a dying machine, his words a meaningless drone. I hear only the whisper now, its rhythm threaded through the grinding of gears. Each hammer strike is a heartbeat, each hiss of steam a breath. The whole manufactorum feels alive, a single vast creature devouring our flesh and souls. And I, no longer prey, but something else inside it. Something growing. It happens by accident. Or perhaps not. The man next to me is young, younger than I was when I first lost faith. His lips move constantly, whispering prayers under his breath as he works, his fingers trembling with exhaustion. I've seen him glancing at me before, quick furtive looks when he thinks I am not watching. Perhaps he senses the difference. Perhaps he feels the flame at my core. Or perhaps it is only fear. I do not know. Today, when his hands slip and a shard of metal slices his palm, he gasps, clutching the wound. Blood runs down his wrist, bright against the grime. The overseer shouts from above, but does not stop the line. No one stops for pain. The machines do not care. I watch him fumble for a rag, his face pale, his lips moving faster now in frantic prayer. And before I can think, before I can stop myself, I reach out. I place my own wounded hand over his for the briefest of moments. Our blood mingles, warm and slick between our palms. His eyes widen, startled, almost afraid. I do not speak. I do not need to. In the moment our wounds touch, I feel something surge, an echo of the whisper, a flicker of heat, like a spark leaping from ember to dry tinder. His breath catches. His prayer falters. I draw my hand back quickly, curling it into a fist, hiding the wound once more. My heart hammers so hard I think it will split my chest. The whisper hums with approval, its tone almost like laughter. Not mockery, joy. Do you feel it? It seems to ask. Do you see how easily they can burn? The young man stares at me for a heartbeat too long, his lips trembling. Then he turns back to his work, head bowed, shoulders stiff. He says nothing. I say nothing. But something passed between us, something more than blood, more than pain. A flicker, a seed. That night, I watch him across the dormitory. He kneels as the others murmur their prayers, but his lips no longer move as smoothly. He hesitates between words, his eyes darting around the room, restless. When he catches me watching, he looks away, but too slowly. I know then that he felt it. Maybe not fully, maybe not yet, but enough. Enough to doubt. Enough to hear a whisper of his own. The whisper inside me is giddy now, its warmth filling my chest, pressing behind my eyes until my vision swims. They will follow, it murmurs. Not all, but some. You will not be alone. The thought is intoxicating. For so long my silence has been a solitary act, a rebellion no one could see. Now it feels like the first step of something larger. A movement, a faith not in the Emperor's corpse light, but in the living flame beneath flesh. Yet with this exhilaration comes fear. The enforcers are not blind. The priests are not deaf. Doubt is heresy, and heresy is death. If I am seen, if we are seen, our blood will stain the stones before dawn. The flame will be snuffed out before it can grow. I lie awake that night, staring at the ceiling. The shadows move like hands reaching, their fingers curling toward me. I close my eyes and see fire instead, coiling in darkness, waiting to erupt. The whisper soothes my fear with a low hum, a soundless pulse. Do not rush. Seeds must take root before they rise. In my mind, I see the manufactorum again, its machines grinding, its sparks flying. But now I see the sparks leaping not onto metal, but onto dry fields, onto oil, onto kindling. I see flames spreading through the ranks of the faithful, burning away their emptiness, leaving only something raw and alive. I see their lips no longer moving in dead prayers but parted in screams, in laughter, in ecstasy. The vision is beautiful and terrible. It fills me with hunger. Before sleep takes me, I press my palm to my wound. It pulses back, a steady beat, like a drum. Not mine alone anymore. Ours. For a moment, I imagine I can feel his heartbeat there too, faint and quick, echoing mine. A flicker. A beginning. Tomorrow I will know. Tomorrow I will watch his lips as he prays, his eyes as he works. Tomorrow I will see if the flame has taken. The next morning, the air feels different. It is no cleaner, no less choked with soot and smog, but I carry a sense of expectation heavy in my chest. I move with the crowd as always, my head bowed just enough, my lips still. Yet every step is slower, every glance sharper. I search for him, the young worker. He keeps close to the others, as though proximity can hide what has begun inside him. But I see the stiffness in his shoulders, the way his lips falter on the litanies. I know the signs. Doubt has entered him. It gnaws as it once gnawed me. The chapel reeks of incense again, thick clouds coiling upward, curling in the air like serpents. My eyes water, my throat burns, but I refuse to cough. The priest bellows his chants, his voice a raw wound, his arms raised toward an emperor who does not answer. The congregation sways, weeping, screaming their devotion. I watch their faces. They are rapturous, ecstatic, blind. Their tears streak through grime. Their mouths foam with prayer. Their bodies convulse with fervor. I feel none of it. For me, the incense is not sanctity but suffocation, the chants not faith but madness. Their words are ashes in the mouth, dry, tasteless, choking. I spit them silently in my mind. My gaze finds him among them. His lips move with theirs, but not smoothly, not seamlessly. There are gaps, moments where his mouth stills, where his eyes flicker open as if searching. Once our eyes meet, only for a heartbeat, but in that instant, I see it. The hesitation, the question. He looks away quickly, his lips resuming their hurried mutter, but I know. The whisper stirs within me, its tone softer now, almost tender. Do not seize. Do not break him too soon. The seed must take root before it can burn. I understand. Faith is not forced. That is the emperor's way, the priest's way. This is different. This is choice. This is truth found in pain and silence, not imposed with lashes and bolts. I wait. The manufactorum devours us again that day. The machines roar, the overseer shouts, sparks leap like fiery insects. I take my place, my wound aching as I grip the tools. The young worker is there beside me, pale and drawn, his hand bandaged clumsily. He avoids my eyes, focusing too intently on the metal before him, as if labor could drown thought. But his prayers are quieter today. I hear them falter between the hammer strikes. Once or twice, his lips stop entirely, though only for a breath. That is enough. I bleed often at my station. Cuts and burns are common, and I let them happen, almost welcome them. Each wound is another offering, another spark. When the shard slices across my knuckles, blood wells fresh and bright. I do not flinch. I let it drip onto the metal, watching it hiss and sizzle in the heat. He sees. I know he sees, though he pretends not to. His hands tremble harder. His bandage stains darker with his own blood. He does not meet my gaze. By evening, when we shuffle toward the dormitories, I walk slower than the rest. He lingers, caught between staying close to the herd and drifting toward me. Twice he glances back, twice he looks away. He is afraid. Fear is natural. Fear is the emperor's gift, their final leash. But even leashes fray. That night, I lie awake again. The dormitory is a tomb of breath and sweat, bodies stacked in bunks, stinking of exhaustion. I hear him, 2 rows away, tossing. His breathing is uneven, restless. His prayers, if he whispers them, are broken, fragments only. I smile in the dark, though no one sees. The whisper hums inside me, low and approving. He feels it. He resists. But resistance is the first act of faith. My wound throbs. I unwrap the rag and stare at it in the dim lumen light. The veins have darkened further, branching like cracks in stone. The flesh around it is red, feverish, yet I feel no sickness now. Only heat, only vitality. I press my thumb into it and watch more blood seep. It glistens on my skin, thick and dark. The smell is metallic, sharp, almost sweet. I taste it on my tongue, just a smear. It is warm. It is alive. It is mine. When dawn comes, the priest leads another ritual. His voice rises, shrill with false ecstasy, screaming of the emperor's glory, of salvation through obedience, of damnation for doubt. His words strike like a whip, but they find no purchase in me. I watch the young worker instead. His head bows, his hands clasp, his lips move. But I see the falter again. Longer this time. The pause is heavy, deliberate. His eyes open briefly, scanning the room. And for a moment, only a moment, they find mine. I do not move. I do not nod. But I let the silence between us stretch. He blinks, startled, almost afraid, but he does not look away immediately. Something passes there, wordless, fragile, but undeniable. Recognition. Not yet faith, not yet surrender, but recognition. He knows. He sees that I do not pray, that I do not bend, and that I still stand. He sees, and a part of him wants to see more. The priest howls louder, demanding the congregation scream their devotion. My lips remain still. His do not yet. But his voice is softer than the others, trembling, hollow. It is ash in his mouth, as it once was in mine. He knows it now, though he may not admit it. Not yet. When the ritual ends, the crowd disperses, a tide of bowed heads and muttered prayers. I rise slowly, deliberately. He lingers again, caught between following them and watching me. He hesitates long enough for me to meet his gaze once more. And this time, I see no denial there. Only fear, and beneath it, a flicker of something else. Hunger, doubt, curiosity. The whisper swells in my skull, warm, alive, triumphant. It begins, it murmurs. The flame leaps from ember to ember. You are not alone. For the first time, I allow myself a smile as I leave the chapel. Small, thin, hidden in the smoke, but a smile nonetheless. For I know now that he will return to his bunk tonight and lie awake, tasting ashes where once he tasted faith. And in that hollow, the flame will grow. The days grind forward in endless repetition, yet I no longer feel caught in the gears. I watch the others more closely now, their lips moving in prayer, their eyes shut tight against thought, their bodies swaying with rehearsed devotion. It is a dance of corpses, a ritual of the hallowed. They believe themselves alive, but I see them as I once was, drained, emptied, shaped into vessels for a dead god's silence. They cling to obedience like drowning men to driftwood, never realizing the wood rots beneath their grasp. The incense burns thicker each day. Perhaps the priests know the hollowness, too, and drown it in smoke. The stench is overwhelming, resin and ash so heavy that the air tastes of rot. I force myself to breathe deeply, to let the acrid sting flood my lungs. It is not sanctity I taste, but corruption, and in it, I hear the whisper more clearly than ever. See them, it murmurs, see what they are. Shells, masks, shadows. I see them, and I pity them. Their tears fall for nothing. Their songs rise to deaf stars. Their pain feeds only the void. And yet they continue, as though momentum itself will save them. I envy their ignorance as much as I despise it. For to be hollow is to be unburdened. To be awake is to carry weight. The young worker avoids me now, though I can feel his eyes. He does not speak. He dares not. But he watches. His lips falter more often during prayer. His voice catches in his throat. I see the way his gaze flicks to me, quick, furtive, desperate. He is caught in the middle, torn between the comfort of emptiness and the terror of awakening. I know this conflict well. It is the crucible through which every hollow must pass before they can burn. Some emerge stronger, reshaped. Most are broken. Which he will be, I do not yet know. In the manufactorum, I bleed more often than before. Not carelessly, deliberately. I let sparks sear my flesh, let the metal bite deeper into my hands. Each wound is a hymn the machines cannot silence. My blood stains the conveyor, dripping into the cracks of iron, and each drop hums with the whisper's approval. Sometimes I glance at him when I bleed, letting him see. His eyes widen, his lips tremble, and he looks away, as though the sight itself burns. But he looks back. Always, he looks back. The others do not see. Or perhaps they do, and they choose blindness. Their eyes are glazed, their mouths slack, their movements mechanical. They are husks fed into the maw of the machine, and the machine devours them gladly. I move among them like a wolf among cattle, unseen, unrecognized. My silence shields me, even as my defiance grows. The hollowed ones cannot comprehend it. To them, obedience is air, prayer is breath. They cannot imagine a life beyond it. They do not see that they are already dead. The whisper grows louder now, bolder. It no longer waits for me to bleed or burn. It moves through me constantly, humming beneath every thought. You are a part, it tells me. Not one of them. No longer hollow. You are becoming. Its words fill me with both dread and exhilaration. Becoming what? Not faithful, not hollow, but something else. Something greater, perhaps, or something monstrous. Yet when I look at the hollowed ones swaying in the smoke, I know I would rather be monstrous than empty. At night, I test myself. I remain still in the bunk while the others kneel beside their beds, muttering their devotions before sleep. Their voices drone, low and constant, like insects buzzing in the dark. I do not join them. My silence is deliberate, sharp as a blade. Sometimes I whisper back to the voice instead, though no sound escapes my lips. The shadows above ripple as though stirred, shapes shifting on the ceiling beams. I feel their weight pressing down, not suffocating, but encompassing, like a cloak wrapped around me. I am not alone in the dark. Never again. The young worker kneels as always, his lips moving with theirs. But I hear the stutter, the falter, the pause. His voice catches. His hands tremble. Once, he glances at me, his face pale in the dim lumen light. For a heartbeat, our eyes meet. He looks away instantly, but I see the terror in him. Not terror of me, not even terror of the enforcers, but terror of himself. He is beginning to see what lies beneath the mask of faith, and it terrifies him. As it should. The priest's sermons grow harsher. His voice cracks with fury as he screams of the great enemy, of chaos waiting to devour the unfaithful, of heretics who burn in the emperor's light. He warns that doubt is the first step to damnation, that hesitation is treason, that silence itself is sin. His eyes sweep the congregation like a blade, searching for cracks. When they pass over me, my heart races, but my face does not change. I bow, I lower my eyes, but my lips remain still. He cannot see. They never see. His fury is wasted breath, his threats ashes in the air. The enforcers linger more often now, their visors gleaming, their weapons heavy. Perhaps they sense the tension, the ripple in the silence. Perhaps they smell the smoke of something not yet aflame. The faithful bow lower, their prayers louder, their voices shrill with desperation. Fear drives them deeper into the hollow, makes them cling tighter to emptiness. But for me, fear has long since soured into defiance. I will not bend. I will not break. The whisper is constant now, a second pulse within me. Sometimes I cannot tell if I am thinking or if it is speaking. Our voices mingle, indistinguishable. They are cattle, it murmurs. You are not. You see them as they are, shadows of men, hollow masks. You are becoming something more. And though I do not fully understand, I believe it. For when I look at the hollowed ones, I feel nothing of kinship. I feel only distance, as though a chasm has opened between us. They are not me. I am not them. One night, after another day of smoke and toil, I sit on the edge of my bunk, staring into the dark. The dormitory hums with the murmurs of prayer, the sound a low hive around me. I do not join. Across the rows, I see him, the young worker. His lips move slowly, haltingly. His hands tremble as he clasps them. Then, for the first time, he stops. His lips fall still. His eyes open. He stares into the dark, his breath caught in his chest. And when he looks toward me, I do not look away. We do not speak. We cannot. But in that silence, something passes between us. A recognition, a confession, a first step into the void. The whisper thrums in my skull, triumphant. He sees. He knows. The hollow cracks. I smile, faint, hidden in shadow. For the first time, I believe it. I am not alone. And yet, in that same moment, I realize something else. I no longer feel human. The hollows are men, bent and broken. I am something else. Something burning. Something becoming. The change begins so subtly that even I do not notice at first. The rituals blur into one another. The endless prayers, the incense, the kneeling, but within them a rhythm emerges. I do not pray. He begins to falter. Our silences align like shadows at dusk. In a place where every gesture is dictated, even a pause becomes an act of rebellion. Even stillness becomes a weapon. The chapel smells stronger than ever. Incense piled high in burning bowls, turning the air thick and heavy. Sweat runs down my spine as I kneel among the congregation. The priest howls above us, his arms thrown wide, spittle glinting in the glow of candles. His words crash like waves on stone, but I let them wash over me without sinking in. They are noise now, nothing more. The emperor's name tastes like ash on my tongue, though I never let it pass my lips. He is 2 rows ahead of me. I watch the back of his head, the curve of his shoulders. His hands twitch as he clasps them, his lips moving with the litanies but lagging just enough that the rhythm fractures. He glances sideways once, then bows lower, hiding his face. I feel the whisper stir like a serpent beneath my ribs. Let it grow, it murmurs. Let the cracks widen. Do not seize. I obey. Patience is agony, but necessary. Seeds take time. Fire waits until the wood is dry. When the ritual ends, the congregation rises like one organism, 1,000 knees creaking, 1,000 breaths exhaled. The incense clings to our clothes, the scent of burnt resin and sweat. We file out into the manufactorum, our world of steel and heat and noise. The machines roar to life, a thunderstorm of grinding gears and hissing steam. Sparks burst in clouds, stinging my bare forearms, leaving faint burns. I do not flinch. I want him to see that I do not flinch. He takes his place beside me at the line, pale and drawn. His hands shake as he works, his bandages stained through with old blood. He keeps his eyes down, but I see how his breathing changes when I cut myself deliberately, letting a bead of blood roll down my knuckle onto the metal. He stares, quick and furtive, then looks away. But his lips do not move. He does not pray at his station. Not today. Not once. I feel the whisper coil tighter, warm and alive. It begins, it says. The flame spreads. We work in silence. The overseer shouts, his voice cracking over the noise, but I hardly hear him anymore. The young worker's silence is louder than any prayer. He does not speak to me, but he does not need to. Silence is enough. Silence is the bond. Each cut of metal, each hiss of steam, each drop of blood becomes a secret hymn between us. The manufactorum devours us, but we are no longer its food. We are something inside it, like sparks hidden in ash, waiting to flare. At night, in the dormitory, I lie awake as always. The air smells of sweat and oil, bodies stacked in rows, their murmured prayers a hive around me. But tonight, two voices are missing. Mine and his. He kneels with the others, but his lips are still. He keeps his eyes down, his hands clasped, but no sound escapes him. I watch him through the dim lumen light. He knows I am watching, and when he finally lifts his head, our eyes meet across the room. We do not nod. We do not smile. But the silence between us speaks louder than any word. The whisper hums within me, not with triumph, but with a strange, patient satisfaction. Good, it murmurs. Do not rush. Fire too soon, and you are smoke. Fire too late, and you are ash. Burn at the right moment, and you consume everything. Its words vibrate in my chest like a second heartbeat. I close my eyes and feel it pulse through me, steady, inevitable. We are building something, though I cannot yet name it. Not a cult, not a rebellion, something deeper, something truer. The priest grows more frenzied each day. His sermons bleed with rage, his voice cracking as he warns of heresy, of the great enemy lurking at the edges of thought. He demands louder prayers, more fervent chants, more sacrifices of labor and blood. The faithful obey, but their fear thickens the air like smoke. They cling tighter to their emptiness, never seeing that their terror makes it hollow still. I watch them and feel only distance. Their world is no longer mine. The enforcers patrol more frequently now, their boots striking the floor like hammers. Their visors reflect the flickering candles, their weapons heavy and silent. They sense something stirring, though they cannot yet name it. They smell the smoke, though they do not see the fire. They do not watch me. Not yet. They watch the crowd, searching for cracks. But cracks are small. Flames hide in silence. They cannot see us. Not yet. At my bunk, I unwrap my wound. The veins have spread further, curling black and red across my palm, branching up my wrist like roots. The flesh burns with heat, but does not rot. It is alive. It pulses with my heart, and something more. I press my thumb into it until blood beads dark and thick, then smear it across my lips. The taste is sharp, metallic, hot. It feels like a seal, a vow. The whisper thrums at the edge of my thoughts, pleased. You are not hollow, it says. You are becoming. I dream of the manufactorum at night. Not as it is, but as it could be. A great cathedral of flame, its machines burning, its overseers screaming. The faithful stripped of their masks, their voices rising not in prayer, but in raw, unshaped sound. The vision fills me with hunger and dread in equal measure. It is beautiful, and it is terrible. And in the center of it stands not the emperor's effigy, but a single burning figure, unbound, unafraid. I do not know if it is me. When I wake, the dormitory is silent but for the soft breathing of sleepers. Across the rows, his eyes are open, watching me. I do not look away. We are awake while the others dream. We are alive while the others rot. We are sparks and ash, waiting. Tomorrow, the rituals will begin again. Tomorrow, the priest will scream louder, the enforcers will patrol heavier, the faithful will pray harder. But tonight, the silence is ours. Tonight, the rebellion is quiet, but it is real. It happens on the line, as all things do. The manufactorum roars around us, metal shrieking, gears grinding, sparks raining down like burning hail. The air is hot, the stench of oil and sweat and blood thick enough to taste. We work as always, our motions mechanical, our bodies shackled to the rhythm of the machine. But beneath it all, silence binds us. He has not prayed aloud in days. His lips remain still, though he bows his head when watched. The mask is still there, but it cracks wider with every hour. The shard slices me deep this time. A jagged piece of metal catches my palm, carving a line across flesh already ruined by scars. Blood wells hot and thick, dripping freely down my wrist. I let it flow, not flinching, not hiding. I hold it aloft for just a moment, a small defiance, and I know he sees. His own hands tremble, and then, deliberately, almost clumsily, he presses his palm against a sharp edge. The metal bites him too, and his blood joins mine, spilling onto the same conveyor, mixing in the same heat. We do not speak. We do not look at each other directly. But I know what has happened. He has chosen. His blood has answered mine. The whisper surges within me, exultant, electric. Bound, it hisses. Not alone. Not hollow. Together. The word reverberates in my skull until I feel it in my bones. My hand throbs, his hand bleeds, and the machine devours our offerings without care. But we know. We have made a covenant the overseers cannot see, the priest cannot sanctify, the emperor cannot break. That night, in the dormitory, the air is heavy with sweat and incense residue, the low murmur of prayer droning as always. But his lips remain still, as do mine. When the prayers fade, when the faithful collapse into restless sleep, I stay awake. So does he. The lumen lights dim, shadows pooling across the bunks. He rises silently, moving with the careful steps of a thief, and I follow. We slip through the rows, past bodies curled like corpses, until we reach the farthest corner of the dormitory where the shadows are thickest. We do not speak. Speech feels too fragile, too dangerous. Instead, I unwrap my bandage, exposing the wound, veins black and red, pulsing like roots. He does the same, his cut fresh and raw. Our blood drips onto the floor, tiny dark drops vanishing into the stone. I raise my palm, and he raises his. For a moment, we hesitate, fear visible in the tremor of his fingers. Then we press them together. Heat, pain, the sting of open wounds meeting, blood mingling, searing like fire. I feel it rush through me, a surge of vitality, of hunger, of connection. His eyes widen, breath catching in his throat. I see recognition there, and something else. Terror, yes, but also release. We hold our hands together for longer than needed, the blood smearing, dripping down our wrists. It feels like eternity. When we finally pull apart, the whisper hums inside me, low and satisfied. Now you are bound. Not alone. Never alone. We sit in silence, our breaths ragged, the smell of blood thick between us. He finally speaks, a single word, hoarse, broken. Why? His voice cracks like it hasn't been used in days. I almost answer. The truth trembles on my tongue, but I swallow it. The whisper urges restraint. Not yet. Instead, I only meet his gaze and let the silence stretch. He nods once, slow, as if he understands. Perhaps he does. We return to our bunks, our palms still wet, our hearts hammering. The faithful sleep around us, their dreams filled with sermons and chains. But our silence is different now. It is not emptiness, it is covenant. I press my wounded palm against my chest beneath the rags, feeling the heat spread through me like fire licking at my veins. I know he feels it too. He shifts restlessly in his bunk, staring at the ceiling with wide, unblinking eyes. We are awake while they dream. We are alive while they rot. The priest's sermons rage louder in the days that follow. He screams of heretics hidden among the faithful, of traitors whose silence condemns them, of corruption that spreads like disease. His words strike closer now, sharper, aimed like blades. I wonder if he knows. I wonder if he senses the crack in his flock, the ember in the ash. The enforcers patrol heavier, their visors gleaming, their weapons resting ready. Fear thickens the congregation's voices, their prayers rising shrill and desperate. But fear no longer binds me. Fear is the soil in which fire grows. The young worker does not falter anymore. He does not pretend as carefully. His lips remain still during prayer, his silence bolder now. His eyes meet mine more often, lingering, steady. We do not need words. We do not need courage. We have blood, and blood is enough. At the line, I bleed freely, deliberately. He does too. Our blood stains the same machines, falls into the same oil-slick cracks. No overseer notices, or if they do, they choose blindness. The machine devours it all, indifferent. But the whisper tells me otherwise. Every drop feeds the flame, it murmurs. Every wound is an oath. The machine takes, but you give. And giving is power. I believe it. I feel it. At night, the dormitory feels different. The murmured prayers of the faithful sound weaker, thinner. Their devotion reeks of desperation, not faith. They pray louder, but it is hollow noise. I hear only the silence between us, thick and vibrant, more real than their 1,000 words. Sometimes I think the shadows themselves lean closer to listen, drawn to the absence of prayer. I feel their weight pressing against me, not crushing but embracing. The young worker feels it too. I see it in the way he stares into the dark with wide eyes, his lips parted as though waiting to speak, though he never does. The whisper is constant now. It no longer feels separate. It pulses with my blood, hums with my breath. It speaks through my thoughts until I cannot tell where I end, and it begins. You have crossed the threshold, it tells me. You are no longer hollow. You are no longer theirs. You belong to the flame. You belong to me. The words should terrify me. Instead, they fill me with a peace sharper than any blade. I know then that there is no return. The Emperor's light is ash to me. The priest's words are chains. The herd is hollow. I am something else. I lie awake long after the others sleep, the blood dried on my palm, the whisper humming like a lullaby. Across the rows, his eyes glint in the dark. We do not speak. We do not move. But the bond is real, sealed in blood, unbreakable. The manufactorum will devour us tomorrow, as it always does. The priest will scream, the enforcers will watch, the faithful will kneel. But something has changed. We have taken the first true step. The hollow is behind us. Before us lies fire. The priest's voice is hoarse from screaming. Each sermon grows longer, each litany heavier, as if by adding weight he can press out whatever sickness gnaws at his flock. I watch from the back of the chapel, kneeling as the others kneel, bowing as they bow. My lips move now, but no sound escapes them. I have learned the mask. I let the words shape my mouth like clay, empty syllables spilling in silence. It is camouflage, a shield. To the enforcers and priests, I am another hollow vessel. But behind the mask, my silence burns. He has learned it too. The young worker kneels 2 rows ahead, his posture flawless, his hands clasped tight. His lips move like the rest, but no sound emerges. He wears the mask as well as I do. Our eyes never meet in the chapel now. We are careful. We have become shadows within shadows, hollow shells hiding fire. It is strange how quickly it becomes natural. I am silent, yet I feel louder than ever. The incense burns so thick today it feels like tar in my lungs. It tastes of resin and death, choking and sweet. The faithful cough through their prayers, but keep praying, tears streaking their soot-stained faces. The priest bellows of vigilance, of loyalty, of the Emperor's all-seeing gaze. He warns of traitors among us, of heretics who wear pious masks. The irony is almost too much to bear. I bite the inside of my cheek to keep from smiling. My blood tastes sharp, metallic. I swallow it like a vow. The whisper is steady, calm. Good, it murmurs. Hide within them. The hollow will not see the flame until it burns their hands. Its words slither through my veins like heat. I obey. I kneel lower, bow deeper, lips moving in perfect time. Around me, the faithful sway and moan. They believe themselves a fortress. They are a tinderbox. At the manufactorum, the machine devours us as always. The roar of gears is deafening. The sparks a constant rain of orange light. My hands are scarred beyond recognition now, veins blackened and branching, flesh hot to the touch. The wound has become more than a wound. It feels like a living brand. I do not hide it anymore when we work. He does not either. Our blood stains the same conveyor, dripping into the same cracks, unnoticed. Or perhaps noticed and ignored. The overseers bark orders, but their eyes slide past us. We are too ordinary to see. That is our strength. The others are changing, though they do not know why. I see it in their faces. Their prayers falter, their hands tremble, their gazes flicker with something like doubt. They have seen us bleed without fear, seen our lips still during rituals, seen the flicker of something not quite right. They do not speak of it, but it infects them like a scent in the air. They pray harder, but their voices crack. Fear seeps in. Cracks widen. The whisper purrs with satisfaction. Do you feel it? Their emptiness begins to shift. They are soft. They are ready. At night, the dormitory hums with murmured litanies, a hive of whispered devotion. But I hear the gaps now. Little falters, tiny pauses where voices once flowed smooth. It is spreading, slow as a sickness. Not a cult yet, not a rebellion, but something. The hollow is weakening. And still we wear our masks, lips moving, eyes closed, silence burning behind them. I feel powerful in this silence, dangerous. The mask is no longer a shield, but a weapon. Sometimes, in the shadows, he and I touch palms briefly, our scars pressing together. It is enough. The heat is there, the pulse, the unspoken vow. We do not need words. Words are chains in this place. Silence is freedom. The priest has begun to accuse unseen heretics during sermons. His voice trembles with desperation. He demands louder prayers, greater sacrifices. He orders enforcers to search the dormitories, to question the workers, to look for signs of spiritual weakness. But spiritual weakness is everywhere. He cannot root out what he cannot name. He does not know where to look. He does not know that we are beneath his nose, kneeling before him, our lips moving in silent mockery. He does not know the fire flickers already in his flock. The whisper grows stronger each night. It no longer feels like a voice, but like another heartbeat, a rhythm within me. They are yours, it says. You will shape them. You will burn them clean. Its words should frighten me, but they do not. They feel inevitable. I trace the veins of my wound, black and red, branching like roots, and feel something growing beneath the skin. Not infection, not rot. Life. Flame. A seed of something vast. I dream of a new ritual sometimes. Not kneeling, not chanting, but standing. Standing together, bleeding into the same fire, eyes open and unafraid. I see the hollowed ones tearing off their masks, their prayers silenced, their mouths open in screams or laughter or both. The manufactorum burns behind them, but they do not flee. They walk through the fire, unbound. I do not know if it is prophecy or fantasy. It feels like both. When I wake, the dormitory is heavy with breath and incense residue. Across the rows, his eyes are open, glinting in the dim lumen light. We do not look away. We are awake while the others dream. The silence between us is no longer just silence. It is a plan, a vow, a future. We are not just sparks now. We are kindling. We are the mask of faith, hiding the flame beneath. And soon, the mask will burn away. The day feels different from the moment I open my eyes. The dormitory hums with the usual murmurs, the same low drone of prayer and exhaustion, but it seems thinner, less certain. Shadows cling to the corners like oil. The air smells stale and bitter, sweat and incense and old blood. I press my palm to my wound, feeling its steady throb, the black veins curling like roots up my wrist. It is hot beneath my touch, alive. The whisper moves inside me, not like a voice but like breath against my skin. Soon, it says. Soon you will speak. I do not speak in the chapel. I kneel, bow, move my lips as the others do, but no sound escapes. He kneels 2 rows ahead, his posture perfect, his lips still. He has stopped pretending entirely now. No one notices, or no one dares notice. The priest rants of heretics hidden among us, of corruption spreading unseen, of chaos whispering in silence. He orders louder chants, more fervent cries, as though volume can banish doubt. But louder cries make emptiness more obvious. Their devotion cracks like ice beneath weight. The incense is thicker than ever. It tastes like resin and rot, sticking to my tongue, coating my lungs. The faithful sway, weeping, their faces contorted in rapture or terror. I watch them and feel nothing of kinship. They are already ghosts. The priest's voice rises, shrill, his arms outstretched, spittle flying in the candlelight. He demands we repeat after him. We do not. Our lips move, but silence is our answer. After the ritual, the manufactorum devours us again. The roar of gears, the hiss of steam, the sparks leaping in orange showers. My hands are ruined now, scarred, veined black and red, hot to the touch. His hands are little better. We work in silence, but our motions have changed. They are slower, heavier, deliberate. We bleed openly now, though not constantly. Each drop of blood is an offering, a signal. The overseer shouts, but does not see. The machine devours our offerings without care, but we know what it means. That night, when the dormitory hums with prayers, we remain still. We kneel as the others kneel, but we do not speak. The shadows feel thicker, alive, as if leaning in to listen. I feel the whisper moving through me, a low pulse in my skull, in my chest. Speak, it murmurs. Not to them, not to him. To me. The idea terrifies me. Speech feels dangerous, final. Silence has been safety, a blade hidden in the dark. To speak is to step into fire. The prayers die down, one by one, until only the soft breathing of sleep remains. I rise from my bunk, moving quietly, the boards creaking underfoot. He rises too, as though he has been waiting. We slip into the far corner of the dormitory where the shadows gather thickest, the lumen lights dim and flickering. We do not speak at first. We unwrap our wounds, exposing the veins and scars, blood seeping from reopened cuts. The smell is sharp, metallic, warm. We press our palms together as we have before, letting our blood mingle. The heat is there, the pulse, the unspoken vow. This time, though, he speaks. A single word, hoarse and low, barely more than a breath. Flame. It trembles in the air between us, fragile and raw. My heart stutters. The whisper inside me swells, its tone almost joyous. Say it, it murmurs. Say it back. My lips part before I can think. The word escapes me like a gasp. Flame. The sound tastes strange on my tongue, like blood and smoke. It feels heavier than any prayer I've ever spoken. We hold our palms together, blood dripping onto the stone. He whispers again, halting, unsure. Flame awaken. It is not a prayer, not exactly. It is something new, something being born in our mouths. I echo him, the words rough, awkward. Flame, awaken. The whisper hums inside me, low and pleased. Good, it says. Now you speak. Now you call. Its warmth spreads through my chest, down my arm, into the wound where our blood mingles. I feel him shudder as it moves through him too. We do not speak further. The word lingers in the air like smoke, a fragile, living thing. We pull our hands apart, blood smeared on our palms, dripping onto the floor. We sit together in silence, breathing hard, the smell of blood thick around us. In the flickering lumen light, his eyes are wide, reflecting the glow like molten metal. He looks at me not with fear now, but with something else, recognition, hunger, perhaps even faith. The whisper settles inside me, quiet but steady. This is how it begins, it murmurs. Not with fire, but with a word. Not with an army, but with two. Its voice vibrates in my bones. I know then that something has changed. Our silence was rebellion. This is more. This is faith. Not the emperor's dead faith, not the priest's hollow litanies. Something new, something alive. A word like a spark. We return to our bunks without a sound. The faithful sleep around us, their dreams filled with chains. But our dreams are different now. We have spoken. We have named. The word lingers in my mouth as I lie awake, my palm pressed to my wound. Flame. It feels like a heartbeat beneath my skin. Across the rows, his eyes glint in the dark. We are awake while they dream. We are alive while they rot. And now we have a prayer of our own. The manufactorum is never silent, but today its roar feels different. The gears grind like gnashing teeth, the pistons hammer like drums. The air is heavy with smoke and steam, thick enough to sting my eyes and coat my throat. My palms bleed freely now. the veins curling further, black roots twisting toward my fingers. Each time my blood drips onto the conveyor, I hear it hiss, as if the machine recoils. Perhaps I imagine it. Perhaps not. The whisper inside me purrs. The machine is not blind. It feels what you feed it. He works beside me, his movements steady, almost ritualistic. His lips twitch sometimes, shaping a word too soft for the overseers to hear. I know what it is. I taste it in the air between us. Flame. The first word we spoke together, still raw, still fragile, but alive. Each time I think it, the whisper swells, warm and insistent. It is no longer only ours. It is in the air, in the smoke, in the blood we spill. The machine hums louder, and I swear it echoes us. The priest screams harder each day. His voice is ragged now, fraying at the edges. He demands fervor, demands louder prayers, demands endless devotion. But the louder he demands, the weaker they sound. I hear it clearly now. Cracks in the voices around me. Hesitations where once there was certainty. The hollowed ones glance sideways at each other. At us. As if suspecting something but unable to name it. Their lips falter mid-prayer. Their eyes wander. They do not know why, but I do. The spark is spreading. Our silence was enough to wound their certainty. Our word will be enough to end it. At night, in the dormitory, the prayers rise and fall like waves. I kneel with them, lips moving, but silence filling my throat. He does the same. Across the rows, I see others falter. A woman misses a line, her lips stumbling. A man coughs through the words, his chant breaking into noise. Once, such slips would have been unthinkable. Now they happen often. They glance around, ashamed, fearful, but no punishment comes. The priest cannot scour doubt from their lungs. It grows faster than he can smother it. Later, when the faithful collapse into uneasy sleep, we return to the shadows. We do not need to speak now. The prayer is there already, pulsing between us. Still, we whisper it, voices low, raw, breaking the silence with a word that tastes like fire. Flame, I murmur. Flame, he answers. Flame, awaken, we say together. Each time the word feels heavier, larger, like it grows with use. The whisper inside me hums, delighted. Language is a weapon, it tells me. You carve the world with words. And now you carve them. The first time I hear another voice speak it, my blood runs hot with dread. It is not his voice. It comes from across the dormitory, soft, uncertain, barely more than breath. A man in the shadows, lips trembling, whispers the word, flame. I freeze. He hears it too. I see his eyes widen in the dark. For a moment, terror grips me. The word was ours, a secret, a covenant. Now it has slipped beyond us. It is loose, dangerous, alive, but the whisper is pleased. Good, it murmurs. Do not fear. Fire spreads. That is its nature. You cannot hold it in your hand. You can only feed it. My dread lingers, but so does exhilaration. The man across the room does not speak again. He curls into his bunk, trembling. Perhaps he does not even know what he has said. But the word is in him now. A spark in the ashes. It will smolder. The next day, I see it in their eyes. They kneel, they chant, they bow as always. But the fire has touched them. Their eyes flicker with unease. Their hands shake. Some mouths move slower, some falter mid-prayer. The priest screams himself hoarse, trying to fill the cracks, but his voice cannot hold them together. The herd is fracturing. The hollow is splitting. All because of a word whispered in the shadows. At the line, I watch him bleed deliberately into the machine. The overseer looks, frowns, but says nothing. Perhaps he sees nothing. Perhaps he is blind. The machine hisses as the blood touches it, steam rising. He glances at me, and for the first time, he smiles, small, grim, but real. I return it. We are no longer only resisting. We are creating. The whisper fills me with heat, pressing against my skull. This is how faith is born, it says. Not with thunder, not with revelation. With a word whispered in the dark, repeated until it burns. That night, more voices falter. I hear the same word whispered again, faint but there. Not only one voice this time. 2, 3, like embers glowing under ash. My heart hammers. Fear grips me still. Fear of discovery, of enforcers dragging us away, of fire before we are ready. But excitement floods me stronger. The cult is already alive, hidden in plain sight. its heart beating in silence and in whispers. The priest cannot see it. The enforcers cannot hear it. But I do, and so does he. As I lie awake, the dormitory breathing heavy around me, I hear the machines outside groan and grind. The sound is louder tonight, almost rhythmic. For a moment, I swear I hear it shaping our word. The gears, the hammers, the endless roar. Beneath it all, a whisper in steel. Flame. Flame. Perhaps I imagine it. Perhaps not. Either way, the ashes stir. The spark is alive. The air in the manufactorum has changed. It is sharper now, colder despite the heat of the machines. The vents hiss like serpents overhead, and the sparks seem to fall slower, heavier, like glowing ash instead of fire. The smell of oil is mixed with something metallic and sour, fear. It clings to the workers like sweat. Their eyes dart more than before. Their lips tremble as they pray. I feel it moving through them, a sickness or a song. Our word is no longer just ours. It is theirs too, whether they know it or not. The overseers stalk the lines more often now. Their boots slam the metal grating like thunder, their visors glinting under the lumen strips. They bark orders, their voices sharp, but the workers barely respond. I see hesitation where there once was obedience. Even the rhythm of the machine seems off, gears grinding in uneven time, as though it too strains under a new weight. The whisper in me murmurs, satisfied. They sense the shift. They feel the fire. They do not know its source. He works beside me, blood seeping from his palms, his lips forming our words so softly it might be breath. Flame, he whispers. It is not defiance anymore. It is a prayer. I echo him, my voice even quieter, lost in the hiss of steam. Flame. The sound between us is almost nothing, but it glows like heat under metal. I feel it move through me, warm and insistent, the whisper purring in time. The fire is spreading. We are only feeding it now. The priest's sermons have turned from rants to tirades. He shrieks of corruption like a man drowning, claws reaching for anything to drag under with him. His voice is ragged, spittle flecking his lips, veins bulging on his neck. He demands sacrifices now, more hours at the machine, more kneeling at the chapel, more blood given willingly to the emperor. He orders enforcers to drag workers to the altar for inspection. I watch as one man is taken, his palms cut open to test for taint. The priest peers at the blood like a diviner reading entrails. He finds nothing. He cannot see the flame. Not yet. At night, the dormitory feels like a pit before a storm. The prayers rise and fall in uneven waves, many voices faltering, some silent entirely. I kneel with them, lips moving, mass perfect. He does the same. But more eyes are open in the shadows now. More glances meet mine and linger. They do not speak the word aloud, but it is there behind their eyes. I feel it like a current under the floor. The whisper thrums inside me. Do you feel them? They lean toward you already. A spark becomes a torch, but fire draws eyes as well as heat. The overseers prowl even here, stepping between bunks at random, their boots ringing on the metal floor. They shine lumen beams into faces, looking for something, anything. Their weapons hang ready. The priest follows sometimes, his robes trailing, muttering litanies under his breath, his eyes bright with fever. The faithful pretend to sleep, their prayers dying on their tongues. The tension is thick enough to taste, a copper tang like blood. We return to the shadows as always, our hands pressed together, our word whispered into the dark. But tonight feels different. The walls lean in closer. The air is heavier. Even our whisper seems louder than it should be, echoing faintly. Flame, we murmur. Flame, awaken. The sound hangs there, trembling. He looks at me, his eyes wide, his breath shallow. I feel the same fear. We are no longer hidden. We are only unseen because they do not yet know where to look. The next day, the overseers change formation. 2 of them stop by our line and do not leave. They watch as we work, silent, their visors blank. My palms bleed as always, but I do not flinch. I feed the machine as if nothing is different. He does too, though his hands tremble slightly. The overseers say nothing. They simply watch. Their silence feels like a blade at my throat. The whisper inside me is calm. Do not break, it says. Fire grows stronger under pressure. Steel does not cut flame. Its words anchor me. I slow my breathing, focus on the rhythm of the machine. Blood drips, gears turn, sparks fall. The overseer's eyes follow every motion. One tilts his head slightly, visor catching the light. For a moment, I imagine a flicker of something behind it. Curiosity, perhaps even recognition. My heart pounds. I know that look. He sees something. Not what it is, but that it is there. At the chapel, the priest screams louder than ever. His words are wild now, unhinged. He names heretics without names, condemns sins without proofs. He orders the faithful to pray until their knees bleed. They obey, but their voices are hollow. I kneel too, lips moving, mask perfect. The overseers stand at the edges like statues, their visors sweeping the congregation. Their silence is heavier than the priest's rage. It feels like waiting, watching, hunting. That night, the dormitory is almost silent. Few pray. Many lie awake, eyes wide in the dark. I feel the word pulsing through the room, unspoken but alive. Flame, flame, flame. It has become a heartbeat, a rhythm under the breath of the sleepers. We kneel in our corner, hands pressed together, our blood mingling. We whisper it once more, barely audible. Flame. His lips tremble. Flame. Mine do too. The whisper inside me hums, low and deep, like a drumbeat. The hunter is near, it murmurs. But the fire is already burning. As we pull our hands apart, I glance up. Across the dormitory, an overseer stands in the doorway, visor glinting in the dim lumen light. He is silent, motionless, but his head is tilted slightly. His eyes, if he still has eyes, are on me. Not the dormitory, not the bunks. Me. The whisper inside me stills. My heart stops. In that moment, I know. He sees something. He does not know what, but he sees it. The mask of faith is slipping, and the fire is no longer invisible. The manufactorum halts. That alone is unthinkable. The roar of gears dies. The pistons fall silent. The sparks cease. The sudden quiet is worse than the noise, a suffocating weight pressing down on us. The air feels heavy with smoke and tension. The overseers march between the lines, their visors reflecting the dim lumen strips, their boots striking the grating like war drums. The priest walks with them, robes swinging, eyes alight with fever. He does not rant this time. His silence is sharper. We are herded to the chapel. All of us. The workers shuffle forward, heads bowed, hands trembling. I move among them, mask perfect, blood seeping quietly through my bandage. He is beside me, his face blank, lips pressed tight. We do not speak. We do not even dare glance at one another. The whisper inside me is still, as though waiting. Waiting for fire. The chapel reeks of incense and sweat. Candles blaze on every surface, their flames guttering in the draft of bodies moving through the aisles. The emperor's image looms from the altar, carved in crude stone, his face worn smooth by centuries of touch. The priest mounts the steps and turns to us, his eyes wild. The emperor sees into your marrow, he cries, voice cracking. He sees your lies. He knows your silence. Tonight, we purge the hollow from among us. The overseers drag the first worker forward. A woman, her face streaked with soot, her hands bleeding from the line. They force her to kneel at the altar. The priest takes her palms, slices them open with a jagged blade, and holds them high. Blood drips down his arms, spattering the stone. He peers into it as if it holds secrets. His lips move in a mutter, eyes darting like a madman's. At last, he shakes his head. Faithful, he declares, voice shaking with relief. She collapses to the floor, sobbing. Another is dragged forward. And another. Some pass, declared faithful. Others are beaten when their prayers falter under the blade. I watch one man scream as the priest cuts too deep, blood spurting across the altar. The priest calls it a sign of weakness. The enforcers drag his twitching body away, leaving a smear of red across the chapel floor. The workers moan and pray louder, voices desperate, cracking. The air is thick with incense and iron, smoke and blood. My chest tightens with every breath. When one falters too long, the priest shrieks of heresy. The overseers descend. Their batons crack bone. Their boots crush ribs. The workers' cries echo against the chapel walls, fading into gurgling silence. The faithful cry harder, as if noise can drown fear. But I see their eyes. I see the cracks widening. Some look at the altar with doubt, not devotion. Some look at each other with suspicion. Fear eats them hollow. The whisper inside me stirs, low and dark. This is not trial. This is sacrifice. He is dragged forward next. My blood freezes, then burns. The overseers shove him to his knees before the altar. His face is blank, but his eyes burn. The priest seizes his hands, slicing them open. Blood wells, thick and black-veined, dripping down. The priest's eyes widen. He stares too long, his lips trembling. The silence stretches. My heart hammers. He knows. He sees. For a moment, the priest seems ready to scream the word heretic. But then, he smiles, a mad, cracked grin. Faithful, he declares, though his voice shakes. Too quickly, too desperately, he lets the hands fall. My companion collapses forward, clutching his palms, blood dripping onto the stone. The overseers drag him back to the rows, eyes unreadable behind their visors. It will be my turn soon. I feel it in the air, the way the overseers' eyes linger on me longer than the rest. I keep my mask perfect, lips moving in silent prayer, head bowed. But inside, the whisper is no longer a murmur. It is a roar. Do not fear them. It thunders. Fear is their faith. Flame is yours. They bleed you for their emperor. You bleed for me. And I am not blind. Its voice fills me, shaking me. My hands tremble not from fear, but from the pressure of its presence. I feel the wound in my palm pulse, black veins throbbing like roots under skin. Heat rises through me, so strong I nearly collapse. The trial continues. Workers dragged forward, blood spilled, bones broken. The faithful scream louder, choking on incense and terror. The air is suffocating, the heat unbearable, the candles flickering wildly in their brass stands. Shadows dance across the stone walls, long and twisted, as though mocking the faithful. My breath comes ragged, sweat dripping down my face, blood dripping from my palm. The whisper presses harder, louder. They cannot hide you forever. When they drag you to the altar, I will answer. Not with silence, with fire. At last, the overseer's hand grips my shoulder. His gauntlet is cold against my sweat-soaked tunic. He pulls me forward. My feet move of their own accord, carrying me up the steps. The chapel spins with smoke and light, incense and blood. The priest's face swims before me, his eyes wild, his grin stretched too wide. He seizes my hands, tearing away the bandage. The wound is raw, black-veined, pulsing with heat. Blood wells thick and hot, spilling down his wrists. He gasps. His lips tremble. His eyes flicker between awe and terror. The chapel holds its breath. The workers lean forward, eyes wide, prayers faltering. The overseers tighten their grip on their weapons. The priest stares at my blood as if it burns his skin. My heart hammers, the whisper screaming now, a furnace in my skull. Now it roars. Now you burn. The priest's hands shake as he holds mine aloft, black-veined blood streaming down his arms, dripping onto the altar stone. His mouth opens, but no words come. His eyes are wide, staring as though he sees something vast and terrible reflected in the wounds. The chapel is silent. Hundreds of bodies hold their breath, prayers caught in their throats. Even the overseers hesitate. For the first time, the manufactorum feels still, as if the machines themselves wait. The whisper is no longer whispering. It is everywhere, in the walls, in the smoke, in the pounding of my heart. It fills the chapel like a storm. Do not kneel, it says. Do not bow. Stand. The command is inside me, louder than the priest, louder than the congregation. My knees lock. I do not kneel. Gasps ripple through the rows of workers, a sound like wind in dry grass. The priest's grin splits, his lips trembling, his voice cracking as he tries to shout, "Heretic!" But the word dies in his throat. My blood drips faster, pooling on the altar, steaming where it touches stone. The overseers step forward, batons rising. Their visors gleam, their weapons ready. The congregation wails, a shrill chorus of fear and desperation. But I feel no fear. The heat in me rises, burning through my chest, down my arms, into my palms. The blood hisses on the stone, not cooling but boiling. Steam rises in thick coils, carrying a stench of iron and smoke. The whisper roars. You are not theirs. You are mine. You are flame. I feel it then, the moment silence shatters. Not my silence, but theirs. A cry rises from the rows. not a prayer to the Emperor, but our word, raw and jagged. Flame. One voice only, cracking in terror. Then another joins. Then another. Flame. Flame. The sound spreads like fire catching dry cloth, leaping row to row, mouth to mouth. They do not even know why they shout it. They only feel the heat, the inevitability. The chapel erupts with it. Flame. 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 The priest shrieks, his voice lost in the flood. He lifts his blade, ready to strike, but his hand trembles too much. He looks at me as though I am not flesh, but apparition. The overseers hesitate, weapons raised, frozen between command and dread. The congregation surges, voices rising, bodies shifting forward. Their prayers are gone. Only our word remains. The mask of faith burns away in an instant. The herd is no longer hollow. They are alight. The heat in me breaks. It rushes outward, searing through my veins, spilling from my wound in torrents of black-red blood. It strikes the altar stone like molten metal. Flames bloom where it touches, hungry, unnatural, licking up the Emperor's image carved above. The stone cracks, smoke pouring from the fracture. The congregation screams, not in horror, but in ecstasy. The word becomes a roar, shaking the chapel walls. Flame, flame, flame. The overseers charge at last, batons raised. But the crowd moves with them. Workers throw themselves forward, clawing, biting, screaming. Chains break, bones crack, blood sprays. I see one overseer vanish beneath a wave of bodies, torn apart by bare hands. Another swings his weapon before being dragged down, his visor shattering under fists. The priest screams for the Emperor, but no one listens. His voice is lost, swallowed in the roar. His altar burns, flames devouring the icon he guarded. His god is ash. Beside me, he stands. His palms are open, bleeding freely, eyes wide with light. He looks not at me, but at the fire rising from the altar, the image collapsing into rubble. His lips move, but this time the word is not whispered. It is shouted, raw and wild. Flame. The crowd answers, a tide of sound, a wall of voices. I join them. My throat tears as I cry it, not in defiance, not in rebellion, but in worship. Flame, flame, flame. The whisper is no longer separate. It is not a voice. It is not other. It is me. I feel it in my marrow, in my blood, in the breath of every worker crying out, in the fire tearing through the chapel. I am not a vessel anymore. I am not hollow. I am not resisting. I am not masking. I am burning. I am the prayer. I am the flame. The priest falls to his knees, his blade clattering from his hand. He clutches his face, weeping, babbling prayers to a God who does not answer. His robes catch fire. He screams, rolling, but the flames cling to him, eating cloth, flesh, bone. The congregation watches, not with pity, but with awe. They do not kneel. They do not pray. They stand, eyes wide, mouths open, voices one. Flame. The manufactorum shakes, as if alive. The machines groan, pistons cracking, gears shrieking. Sparks rain in torrents, igniting oil and cloth. Fires leap from line to line, devouring cables and scaffolds. The air is filled with smoke and screams and laughter. The walls tremble with the weight of our word, our prayer, our birth. Flame, flame, flame. I feel my body breaking. My hands burn, skin blistering, veins splitting open as more black-red blood pours free. I should collapse. I should die. Instead, I rise higher, the heat holding me upright. The whisper, no, my voice, screams in my skull. This is not death. This is not loss. This is becoming. This is transcendence. I see nothing but fire. I hear nothing but our word. I am nothing but the flame. The roof cracks. Smoke pours upward into the night sky, carrying sparks and embers like stars torn loose. The manufactorum bellows its death, collapsing into itself, a furnace consuming all. The workers surge into the fire, some laughing, some weeping, some screaming, but none praying to the Emperor. Their faith is ash. Their God is gone. Only the flame remains. And in the center of it, I stand. My blood pours like oil into the fire. My voice joins theirs, but louder, sharper, more. I am not one voice. I am every voice. I am the spark and the inferno, the word and the roar. The mask of faith is ash at my feet. The silence is gone. The whisper is gone. There is only one truth now, one prayer, one faith, one self. I am Flame.